Verizon Media CEO Guru Gowrappan, thank you for speaking to Bloomberg. You're here at CES basically to do a discussion around what Verizon Media looks like under your leadership.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say?
Look, I think for us, last year was the year of transformation and stabilizing Verizon Media under the new leadership. That was the first core thing. 2020 for us is all about growth, right? So if you think about at core, our mission is, to connect people to their passions through trusted content, connections, which is really creating communities around sports, news, finance, entertainment, or advertiser communities, and commerce. That's something new that we've taken on. So a lot of that is around growth. We've seen a lot of parts of our businesses doing really well in 2019, part of stabilization. Now literally it's fueling that to the next level.
Verizon Media, or Verizon more broadly, had a similar business called Oath, which it shuttered essentially in 2018.
Yeah.
Explain to me how Verizon Media is different from Oath.
Look, first of all, I think the foundation for us now is about trust, innovation, and product. If you think about Oath, a lot of the focus on Oath was on the advertiser and the advertising side of the business. If you look at Verizon Media today, it's 900 million consumers that we reach globally. And then the other side of the coin is how we take that consumer base and attract advertisers and monetize that. So the journey that we've gone through Oath versus Verizon Media is really focusing on customers, transforming our products. So we've started seeing mobile as an example, as now outpaced and grown further than desktop decline. That's a big change versus what we were doing before. So I would say very product-centric, a lot of focus on trust and innovation as we transform into Verizon Media more deeply.
I want to talk a little bit about Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So the Verizon Wireless chief was saying yesterday that Disney Plus will essentially show up as quite a big cost in the fiscal fourth quarter, but in future quarters will generate revenue. How do you see Disney Plus, that relationship generating revenue for your business? And do you think that you could see future models with other media partners similar to how Disney Plus works with Verizon?
So the first part, if you think about our business on the Verizon Media, if you start thinking of us, again, think about the 900 million users globally, we're also the eyeballs on the top of the funnel for Disney Plus. So for our side of the business, there's a lot of ad spend that Disney is doing to attract new customers through our ecosystem, that's one. Two, part of our media platform, the streaming service, actually Disney Plus leverages that to stream their content today. So those two businesses actually fuel, as Disney Plus grows, as Verizon overall grows, we actually grow with that. So that's what I would say, how we help and how we benefit from it.
Who else could you go into partnership with in a similar way?
The reality is there are only limited set number of use cases that you can go. I mean, you want to be careful with consumers and you want to work with great iconic brands. Disney is a great brand like Verizon, and that partnership works well. So I think we'll go use case by use case and see who there are. I don't want to name names, but I think there's going to be a limited set of partners who will benefit from this ecosystem. Apple Music did that in a version before with Verizon, and Disney is the next big thing that's happening, and I would see that continue as use cases grow.
And how do you read Disney's success? I mean, what do you see Disney Plus as achieving in the next 12 months, the next 3 years?
I think at the top level, getting more customers signing up. Two is retention of customers really coming in. And are you keeping them for longer term, right? I think that's how Disney would at least look at it.
Your boss, Hans Vestberg, is very focused, laser focused on 5G. The company more broadly is focused on 5G. What opportunity does 5G bring Verizon Media?
One of the biggest use cases when you think about 5G is the media use case is what leverages. Actually, that's the most tangible for consumers and advertisers. And when we start thinking about it, we've seen AR in the previous world, in the 4G world, or call it today's world, is very non-mainstream. Probably less than 1% of content or advertising experience is AR. I think in the 5G world, AR becomes mainstream. Think about XR platform. We launched an XR news platform in collaboration with AP, now this Reuters, which is really building a platform where news becomes experiential. The reason you can't do that at scale today, because you don't have the bandwidth, the latency, the speed that you need to be able to do that. 5G at scale helps us do that. So I think for our business, the AR, let that be on the content experience side or on the advertiser side, the AR ad units now go from 0.001% of the total impression base to a much bigger scale. Sports is another use case. We've been working with NFL, NBA to really get to where fan base and fandom in terms of interactivity goes to the next level.
Let's jump in there. I want to talk about sports.
Sure.
Yahoo Sports is popular. You also have Sports Book. So talk to me about those two businesses, what they look like in 2020, what the future opportunities are, what revenue looks like, because that's an exciting area, but it's competitive.
It's very competitive. So if you think about, I'll come back to the mission that I said, which is to connect consumers to their passions through content, connections, and commerce. Commerce is where sports fits into in terms of completing the life cycle, completing the transaction cycle. So if you think about in sports betting world, the hardest part is to get the consumers, which is the top of the funnel. What Yahoo has today, our ecosystem, as I said, we are a total 900 million base globally, and within the US, sports today is 60 million monthly active user base, right? We are a leading player. And you think about our NPS across our product, our fantasy sports. So we already have a tied-in consumer base who want to do this, right? So for us, it was a natural extension to close the loop in terms of sports betting. So we were clear that we want to do it. We chose the best partner who can be our underlying platform, that's MGM, and that launched in New Jersey. That's our first legalized betting state. We expect that to grow.
What comes next?
Look, there are at least 5 states. I mean, there are many states that are legalized, but then the policies are not set yet, and the product platforms are not set yet. So our hope is in this year, at least we have 5+ more states.
In terms of a meaningful contribution to revenue?
Meaningful contribution to revenue. And I think, look, year one for us, it's like 5G and everything. You're setting the foundation, right? And once you have enough ecosystem, multiple states playing and multiple consumers jumping into the platform, then you're building a much deeper kind of a network effect that will take into place. So it's a very important priority for us, a huge bet for us, and we're focusing heavily on growing that.
Let's keep talking about some of your properties. You actually sold off Tumblr in August. In terms of what you've already got, will we see further divestments? Are there other assets that you just feel you don't need or you will try to get rid of over the coming 12 months or beyond? Sure.
Look, again, it does tie to strategy, right? I mentioned trusted content as being a core pillar. Tumblr for us, we are not in the UGC world. We are not working in social user-generated content. That's not our focus, that's not our strategy. So it made sense for us to divest Tumblr. All other assets really squarely fit in when you think about trusted content. Take news, take HuffPost, take sports, finance, entertainment that we do. We're really becoming a premium publisher in a way, either through our own or syndicating and bringing in other content into the platform. That'll only grow. So I don't see any other divestment in terms of content. In fact, we're doubling down and investing more on that.
Let's go the other way. What about M&A opportunities over the next 12 months? What are the areas that you want to go more deeply into? What kind of properties could you buy?
I would say in the world of trusted content, I think there are a lot of players that are doing a great job in building that ecosystem. Not massive, but they've really built deep content, deep journalism. When you think about it, I think that's one. Always you want to keep an eye out for who's doing that. 2, I would say on the advertiser side, as I said, some of our core parts of our ad businesses have been growing. Is how do you scale that and double down further? And then look, in the world of AR and XR, I mean, you've seen we've already announced a lot in terms of what we're doing with partners. We'll always be looking 10 steps ahead in terms of what innovation we can do there, because we have an advantage there. We were the first to 5G, and we want to make sure we leverage that and scale that when you think about AR. So a lot of, we don't have anything in pipeline, I know, when you think about M&A, but I think that's areas that we want to constantly look in terms of innovation.
What about investment in the existing businesses? Sure. I'm thinking that it's an election year, the Huffington Post, for example, some of your other properties. What kind of investment can you make into those? Are you looking to grow those businesses in the next 12 months?
A lot. I think election years make companies in many ways, and if you think about Yahoo News, HuffPost, and actually every other content property, you take Yahoo Finance, has a view from every candidate's perspective. You think about financial policies and how that goes in. So we've actually launched our election hub, which really focuses on bringing all our content together and creating that election experience for consumers who are going to go and vote in 2020.
I want to finally end on advertising.
Sure.
Principally, advertising is direct to the consumer. Are you going to build a sort of B2B business model for your advertising platform? What is the plan for advertising over the next 12 months?
Look, the key for us on the ad business, the core businesses are demand side platform, the native ads. Those are the businesses that's been growing for us, at least last year. We are really doubling down. The advantage of being Verizon now, if you think about Verizon, B2B is a big part of our business. We name the brands, they're all on Verizon platform today. When we have an ad platform, we are working jointly to bring in more brands onto our platform. And we're also call it the third big choice when you take Facebook and Google out. We are the partner when you think about giving you a brand safe environment, because our content is very brand safe now that we're not in social or user generated content. So we are really spending more on growing our demand side platform, our native business, and making it very core trust and privacy centric in the new world.
What's the single thing that you are most excited about for 2020?
5G.
Okay.
Scaling 5G use cases, I think we already have a leg up being first in the market in 2019. I think now it's taking that and building use cases and scaling that up in 2020.